Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live. Today I have Jenifer Robertson, who's joining us from Dallas, Texas, headquarters for AT&T. Jenifer is the Executive Vice President and General Manager of AT&T Mass Markets, which to those of us outside that system translates as the head of AT&T Consumer. So thank you so much for joining today, Jenifer.
Happy to do it. Thank you for the invitation.
So I want to start by talking a bit about AT&T, your business, and then we'll move into your leadership. Our people who listen to this are generally interested both in leadership and leadership strategy. So I know that AT&T recently released its financial report for the fourth quarter, and that there were strengths in your wireless department and in subscriber growth. You lead the largest revenue driver across AT&T. How do you maintain growth at such a large scale?
I think it is a team effort for growing wireless overall, as well as then growing our fiber customer base. What we did several years ago now, it was a little over 3 years ago, was reorient ourselves as a company, simplify our focus to 5G wireless and to fiber to become the best connectivity provider, connecting everyone where they want to be, at home or on the go. And as we did that, we noticed needing to turn around wireless subscriber growth. It feels really good coming off of our 2023 earnings to be able to say we've just completed the best 3-year stretch of wireless growth in over a decade. And so we've done that focused on the customer, but ensuring that we are bringing very simple, consistent value propositions to the marketplace, easy for customers to understand where we stand. And that is making sure that all of our customers feel appreciated and have access to the latest and greatest devices on all of our plans, regardless of whatever choice is best for them, and the ability to mix and match those across plans. But it was products, it was pricing constructs informed by customer pain points. It was also being able to go to market with a very consistent message, having distribution in the right place. Getting our frontline teams energized about refocusing and simplifying the company around connectivity. So it took us a bit to get all of those rowing in the same direction and at momentum, but we are feeling that now, and our employees are energized and our customers are voting with their wallet. Given the churn numbers we're seeing at industry lows, we're really pleased with that as well.
Terrific. I am hearing a theme already in your words, actually a couple of them, the first of which would be simplify. So could you talk a bit about maybe some examples of simplification that you did?
Absolutely. So when we think about this, and I'll bring it back to our growth, one of the things we needed to do with customers was make sure they understood what AT&T was offering and make it very intuitive for them. We said 3 years ago, we are going to center ourselves around the customer, and that's how we will drive growth. It's exactly what we've done. And so we've taken offers to the market that are very simple. Any device, any plan that you have with your wireless, and whether you're a new customer or an existing customer, you have access to the best deals. And so it was a demonstration of, we're not going to put in a lot of caveats and different types of plays that move in and out of the market as some carriers do. It's straightforward. It helps us execute much more simply, much more efficiently with our frontline teams, and customers know what to expect. That's been one of the biggest pieces that we've been able to use as a platform to then say, okay, how do we next come to market with a simple view? How do we bring fiber to bear with simple, straightforward pricing? No contracts. It's just the price is what we tell you, and you won't experience the promotional roll-off pricing that is common in the broadband industry. And so approaching customers that way, where they know what to expect from us, is a challenge we took on. It's one we've made progress on, and it's one we're not standing still. There continue to be opportunities for us to go to market in a very simple way, and that distinguishes us in the industry.
Yeah. Well, I just have to say, I have been an AT&T customer for a very long time from a consumer standpoint.
Thank you for that.
I've been through some ups and downs with all of that, but I think simplification can only be a good thing from a consumer standpoint. So I'm curious, what's the size of the team that you lead? And I hear some clear messaging, but what else do you do to lead your team through what I'm assuming is a quite large team through growth?
We have several thousand people that we need to activate and engage across our organizations to serve customers, certainly to develop the products and the go-to-market approaches, the marketing message, et cetera. And then to run all the operations behind the scene, it does take quite a few people. It has helped, and I don't mean to keep coming back to this same word, but it has helped to be so simple and so focused and to be that straightforward with employees. Our strategy is to be the best connectivity provider. It is to focus on fiber and 5G wireless as the future technologies that enable that at scale. And then to explore other opportunities to continue to make that connectivity ubiquitous. But fiber and 5G wireless reorients the company. It energizes the employees that are here. And so if we can get that consistency of message, that clarity and simplicity of it, and then follow with steady, repeated actions that continue to demonstrate we're serious. Okay, here's the next move we're making, all in the same vein. Truly, employees start to feel the momentum and get engaged and be inspired by what they're a part of. We bring in growth, back to your first question, and it becomes a very inspiring place to be when we can step back and say, the work we've done has been heavy lifting. It's been some basic blocking and tackling, execute the right way, deliver growth the right way, focused on profitability, stay disciplined in the marketplace as the competitive environment changes. This is our strategy. It has really helped center employees, and then to start to see the momentum turning of growth energizes them, and they're ready for the next step. It really does become a virtuous cycle that we can feed upon when we're that focused and we're that consistent.
Yeah. Simple to say and hard to execute in a large organization.
Right.
I think as you demonstrated a clear message and lots of repetition, and then some of these wins that you're stacking up now.
That's right. We'll say it over and over, no matter which leader's speaking to a group of employees, and then ensuring that message cascades through very consistently and frequently, to your point.
Yeah, that's great. So this is a very competitive marketplace. And you mentioned customer retention a minute ago. Customer experience is vital to growth and retention, right? Once you, I don't know what the word is in your industry, once you land a customer, once you acquire a customer, how do you keep them? What sorts of initiatives has AT&T Consumer implemented to enhance the overall customer experience?
It is once we welcome you into the AT&T family and we're your connectivity provider of choice, we want to keep you. And that really was the fundamental component to the change we made in the industry about 3 years ago. And that was to lead with our plan, which we call Best Deals for Everyone, the offer that's in the marketplace. That stemmed from a lot of customer research on where their biggest pain point was. And it was candidly that existing customers didn't get access to the same deals as new customers. They felt like we hadn't rewarded the loyalty, like you, of a longtime customer. New customers got access to better deals. And we very objectively looked at, we're centering ourselves around the customer, go solve for the pain point. We can differentiate against that in the marketplace. And the last piece being efficiency of the most efficient customer you can acquire is the one you actually already have and you retain. And so why not invest in the base of customers who have been investing in us? And so as we did that with the customer experience, it opened up the eyes to AT&T really does value me for being a customer. They've demonstrated it with this first step. And then keeping that consistent in the marketplace and not backing off demonstrates we're willing to keep that promise with our customers. We're willing to keep going as long as customers are there saying it matters to them and sticking with us because of it. And then we come back in and we do other things. We simplify channels. We simplify our interactions by making more available digitally, but also finding points of distribution and service that meet customers where they want to be. So whether that's digitally or it's a different type of face-to-face channel than historically we've served, we make sure we're in the right places to serve customers with their questions their upgrade needs, their sales, and their service. So distribution, digital, and offers are probably the best examples of how we've moved that needle in customer experience over the last few years. And then to your point earlier of a lot of other things that happen behind the scenes and build up those platforms for our customers, help us engage with our communities, help us show up in ways for customers that might be unexpected and surprise and delight, help us continue to connect people. That's certainly resonating in the communities we serve.
All right. So I know you've been at AT&T for just over 2 decades now. If my research is right, you have a background in corporate strategy and technology strategy there. I'd love to hear a little bit about sort of your journey of the last couple of decades, in part because it's so rare today in the world in general and in technology specific to be at a company for that long, even though you've had like consistent steps up the ladder and I'm going to say reward for the work you were doing. Anyway, how did you determine what your next steps would be on your leadership journey of all the options you must have had?
I would love to say it was a very deliberately planned and perfectly executed path. That wouldn't be genuine or honest, and so I won't say it. What I would call out are a couple of key moments. One was I was at a company prior that had a great corporate culture, was really, really respected, but I left and joined AT&T for the ability to learn the business end to end. A commitment to developing leaders and exposing people like me who very much wanted to learn different types of roles and be able to connect the dots across so that we can blend the technology needs with the business needs for the customer. That appealed to me. And it was that commitment that AT&T made when they hired me that drew me in. And the company has absolutely followed through with it. I've been able, as you mentioned, I actually started in network and operations, so the more nuts and bolts and wrench part of the business, and moved over and had the opportunity to be a part of a startup as we launched what we ultimately named Uverse. It was an IPTV and internet product. And so I was able to be a part of a startup, which was incredibly invigorating early in my career. And so watched that business grow and then helped launch it through a sales and marketing role, which was completely unexpected out of my career path, but helped me find different strengths and things I enjoyed. So what I've found along the way is the ability to move through with products at different stages of their life cycles, whether it's Uverse as a successful startup for us. I've had the opportunity to work on some others that we'd shut down quickly as we tested it and moved on. But also manage businesses that are at the maturity point of the product lifecycle and ones that are in the decline. That has kept me interested and kept me very focused on being able to become, I think, a more broad and more informed business leader, connecting operational decisions with financial decisions and setting us up for sustained growth. So that ability to do product lifecycle has been one thing that's been key for me as I retroactively look and connect dots. The second has been being able to be in the seat when the phone call comes in to get the ask for a job I had no idea was coming my way or wasn't on my radar. The jobs that sounded the most out of left field and candidly had me sit back a little bit and say, I'm not quite sure how this fits into my plan, or I'm not quite sure why you're giving me the call, I have found have been the ones that have stretched me the most and allowed me to grow the most, but also bring transferable skills into a part of the business that the leaders making those phone calls saw opportunity for. Sure. So those two sets of experiences, sets of opportunities, the willingness to say yes when those calls come in, have really shaped the pattern. And the opportunity for me has been in the network and the operations side. You mentioned the strategy side, but a lot of time across our customer-facing channels. So whether it's in the field with our technicians, call centers, retail stores, the ability to serve the customer has been one that's been incredibly helpful and certainly informative in the role that I'm in now.
Yeah. As you, I love those sort of leadership lessons that you're describing, and I just want to underscore one for people who are watching or listening to this, and that is doing the thing you don't think you're quite prepared to do. The thing out of left field that for whatever reason sounds interesting to you, and someone has given you an opportunity for it. Can you think of one in particular that really stretched you?
Gosh, one that stretched. There were several, but I'll pick one because it was so different. As I had come off of the Uverse startup and moved in to run one of our markets, one of our wireless markets in the Rocky Mountains, I received a phone call to come back to Dallas and be a part of a new startup that very quickly we dissolved and chose to make a different investment decision. On the backside of that, once we got our people placed that we had just recruited, I got the phone call to join corporate strategy. And the clear direction coaching I received was, come back and talk to me in 90 days. You're going to be a little bit confused for the next 90 days. Yeah. And when I came back to the individual, my response was, I feel like I've been in 15 years of cardio training on the operations side of the business, on the serving customer side of the business. And I've just been in 90 days of a yoga class. And yoga's hard. It's a different set of muscles. The ability to step back off the treadmill and think about a different pace, think about the strategy, the second, the third, the fourth order moves was a very significant adjustment in how I was kind of tuned to run the business. And has been one of the ones that stretched me the most, but has informed where I've gone from there.
Yeah. Wow. Well, kudos for saying yes. Because not everybody does. That's great. One of the things, as I talk with leaders, I become really aware of, and then in my own history in terms of dealing with companies who are in growth mode, whether they're large or small, is that there's a large component of ambiguity. And I think the ability to be comfortable with ambiguity is one of the marks of a great leader. You have to have a bias for action, of course, but this ability to sort of stay in the place where you don't quite know and be comfortable with that. For yourself, how do you deal with the ambiguity that's an inevitable part of senior leadership?
I think there's ambiguity, whether we want to talk roles and role clarity or functions. There can be ambiguity in defining metrics of success and what does success or what is the North Star that we're marching toward look like. There's ambiguity in the best laid plans and strategies are excellent. The world evolves and changes around you from external factors that can be economic, that can be regulatory, or can be competitive. And so as you kind of have to be able to manage the different scenarios. And so I'd offer three things. One is the leadership ability to be very clear about here's the North Star vision of where we're marching. We're not exactly sure on how we're going to get there yet, but we know we're headed in this direction and success looks like fill in the blank. And provide the guardrails for the team to go march down that path and learn with them. That requires, in my opinion, the most important leadership trait, which is humble confidence. You have to have the confidence to lead, to set that vision, the confidence that things won't go exactly as expected, but you can adjust course. We had a leader that I was able to work for that said, fail fast, adjust course faster. So we'd make sure we're still headed down that path and the team sees you willing to take those risks. But you have to have the humility to learn in front of people. You have to have the humility to appreciate just because you're the leader doesn't mean you have all the skills or all the insight or knowledge or context to lead the whole team. It's why you have a team. So when you can bring those two together, I think it helps people navigate the ambiguity or at least the ambiguous path with you. But you have to set a vision for where you're headed. The other couple of pieces that I would offer up is the willingness to go have the tough conversations in a very constructive and open way. I'm a little bit confused. I'll pick role clarity. I'm a little bit confused. Here's what I understand. Here's what I understand, your measures of success or your point of view is on how we get this work done. Let's talk about how this benefits the business, benefits the customers, and where's the best place for the work. We can let the rest go. That tends to be places where if it's ambiguous, it gets very contentious, becomes emotional quickly. So learning to have those objective constructed dialogues, I think, are critical to managing ambiguity.
And bringing it back to the higher level goal, what's best for the business, is 100% the place to start in my book as well.
That's right. Common goals. And if we can get there, we can let the conflict resolution or the ambiguity work itself out, but agree on what we're all trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, a lot of gold in those comments around ambiguity. So, Jen, I'd like to close with just this last question I ask all my guests, and that is, the tagline for my business is up and to the right, because that's the spot on the 2x2 matrix where we always want to be. Was there a moment or an event in your career when you knew that you were moving up into the right, sort of that spot where we want to be?
I don't know that there was a moment. I think there was certainly momentum that I sensed.
Mm-hmm.
And as I moved through, I guess if I had to select a specific, I can't pick one moment.
Mm-hmm.
It was the growth of responsibility as I made my way back into the consumer part of the business.
Mm-hmm.
And then from the seat I sat in, it just continued to grow in responsibility. And at some point the ground swells there, and you have to acknowledge in your head, okay, over the last 3 years, the path has been set and I'm up and to the right. And then you have to be in your own head to say, and don't let that knowledge impact your humble confidence on either side.
And the world is not a steady state, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's more groundswell than one moment, though.
Yeah, it's different for everyone. And thanks for sharing that. Well, thank you for being here today. Again, we've had Jenifer Robertson, who's the head of AT&T Consumer. And Jen, thank you for both sharing information about AT&T and your success and direction there, as well as your leadership strategy and tips. Take good care.
Happy to do it. Thank you.